Hello and welcome back to PF International Circuit here in Lincolnshire, England for the 2004 Kartmasters GP. In our first programme we saw some fantastic racing from the junior classes. Now though it's the turn of the seniors, the 16-plus-year-old drivers. There are 4 different categories and in each of those divisions we have got at least 8 or 9 key contenders. So what you're about to see is some fiercely contested racing.
There certainly will be some fast and furious action from the senior classes, particularly so from the red and white plates that are the Formula TKM Extreme. 115cc's of direct drive 2-stroke power, regulated chassis and controlled tyres make this the UK's most popular class. Formula Libre has proven to be a great hit following its introduction here at the Kartmasters some 3 years ago. Engine manufacture and high-tech chassis designs are free, provided they meet the regulations. Only tyres are controlled in what is karting's equivalent to Formula 1. Next up, the green and white plates of the 100 national class. Again, engines are limited to 100cc, and whilst any engine make can be used, they must all run what they call rotary valves. That said, they're almost as quick as Formula Libre, so expect loads of excitement. And finally it's to Rotax Max with the blue and white numbers. There's a massive entry here at the Kartmasters, so expect some fantastic action from these 125cc water-cooled 2-strokes as the very best UK drivers battle it out for the coveted GP title. But it's to the TKM Extreme class that we turn our attentions as the pack gets underway in their first final. With entries oversubscribed for this year's PF International Kartmasters, competition has been fierce throughout the earlier heats to qualify for this race. The 14 card of James Nash, 7th, 10th and 2nd in the heats, had started from the front row and needed to stay near the front to ensure a good position within the final. But pressure was coming from the 7 kart of Ryan Ferner and 8 Michael Ryle, both of whom were on the same mission. And it was to be Ferner and the 60 kart of Ryan Cole who were to dictate the pace of this final, both eventually pulling clear of the chasing pack. But there's always some drama in TKM, and this last lap tangle effectively spoilt the chances for drivers like Sarah Barrow. Out front, the 60 card of Cole took the win, thus ensuring him pole position in the grand final to come. So on our Hot Shots board, Ryan Cole has to be our favourite for the GP title. With that impressive win in the first final, the safe money is on him. Although a disappointing 21st in the first final, Barnaby Pittingale has run reasonably well in the heats, and his experience of this track could see him do well. Sarah Barrow has been the fast lady this weekend with an 8th and 13th in the heats, so she could yet spring a surprise.
Sarah, you're going very well in TKM. You've had one bad heat though.
Yeah, we did, had a bit of a coming together with someone in the second hairpin and my brake pedal fell off, so couldn't finish that one, which is a bit annoying.
Good to see plenty of girls out there this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot actually. I was quite surprised. There's a lot more girls coming into the sport, I think, now, especially in the junior classes. It's a lot better.
And you've not long stepped up into TKM Extreme, have you?
No, I moved up a few years ago, but the last 2 years I haven't been racing due to kind of exams at school and stuff, so I've just kind of come back into it now and it's going well so far.
And what is your ambition for this weekend?
I want probably top 10. I would be pretty happy, maybe top 5. We'll see how it goes.
And are you planning to race a little bit more regularly from now on?
Yeah, definitely. Next year I might be moving up into 100 national or ICA, so that would be really good.
Okay, well good luck for today.
Thank you very much.
So let's go to the grid for our TKM Extreme Grand Final. Ryan Cole number 60 on pole, 7 Ryan Ferner beside him on 2. Then it's 93 Danny Allen, and beside him 63 Adam Rogers. 14 James Nash is in spot number 5 with 35 Thomas Barrow in 6. Number 8 Michael Ryle is at 7 with 37 David Robb at 8. And on the 5th row of the grid, 23 Sean Carter, 95 Andrew Wilkinson. As we go to Chris Hartley for the race coverage.
Thanks, Alan. On with the most popular of British karting classes then, Formula TKM Extreme. Traditionally 100cc category, but this year it was upgraded to 115cc category. The kart's quicker than they've ever been before. Very evenly matched machines. We've got two Ryans on the front row of the grid, led around on the formation lap by Ryan Cole, number 60. The man from Nottingham won the pre-final by 3.7 seconds. Can he do the same here? Away we go then, firing themselves into the first corner. Cole gets a cracking start at the inside there. As a midfield collision there, two karts out, 20 David Grady and 24 James Hunt. Their race is effectively over before they start. Cole into the lead then. Ryan Ferner, who started this race second, tucks in behind in the number 7 kart. Filing their way through the first hairpin. Into the second then, number 30 there going around the outside. He's made a terrific start. That's James Harris, who's already shot from 12th to 6th in just 2 or 3 corners. Cole leads then through the chicane for the first time. Then it's Ferner, then it's Adam Rogers in 3rd position. And in 4th place we've got David Robb. Sorted themselves out now. Ryan Cole is at the head of the field. Look at this massive pack of TKM karts working their way through the complex for the first time. And there are a number of quick drivers that will have to do some early work here, having had a bad pre-final starting at the back of the grid. They'll have to pick off some places in the first lap or so while everybody's bunched up. Ryan Ferner there in 2nd place then. Up to 3rd has come David Robb, ahead of Adam Rogers in the 63 kart. James Harris, number 30, making good ground still behind them. There goes David Robb up the inside, takes Adam Rogers with him, and Ryan Ferner loses 2 places there in the number 7 kart. So the Scotsman up to 2nd place now, and Ferner about to lose another position possibly to James Harris. Harris has the inside line as they hurtle towards the left-right chicane. Did he get through or not? That's the question. He didn't. Just see in the background that Ferner managed to cling on to his place, but he's still nevertheless dropped from 2nd to 4th in one fell swoop there. David Robb then, number 37, has gone from 20th to 8th in the pre-final. He's making good ground here in the grand final as well. Now James Harris, number 30, has lost a place to number 14, James Nash, and he's got Sam Wilson, number 52, and 3 or 4 other karts queuing up behind him as well. Heading down towards the hairpin, the first of them. Number 23, Sean Carter, in on the action as well. And there is number 21 making a move there, Scott Mulvern, making up another place in the midfield. Here comes Wilson out the inside into the second hairpin. And James Harris, after a terrific start, ultimately hasn't got the pace to hang on to that lead group. There is Adam Rogers, who is in 2nd place now, ahead of David Robb. Behind the pair of them, we've got Ryan Ferner in the number 7 kart. Have made a bit of a break from the rest of the pack, and hang on, the rear bumper is loose on Ryan Ferner's kart. There it is, dangling at the back of him, skitting up as it hits the tarmac. And that is a big problem. That's going to cause him to retire. Surely almost sends him off the track there as the bumper digs in. He realises the problem and backs out of this race. That's a terrific shame for the driver that finished 7th in last year's Super 1 British Championship. He backs off the gas and he's going to drop out of this lead battle. Ryan Cole storming away with it at the front of the field. Top 3 go through. There's Ryan Ferner. A sad sight as he retires from this race. Who then will pick up the 4th place? Let's wait and see who the first man through is. They're a long way back. It's going to be 52, Sam Wilson. Wilson ahead of 23, Sean Carter. Then we've got number 14, James Nash, in the mix as well. And Nash up the inside of Carter there, who left the door wide open on the way into the right-hander and gave that place away fairly easily. Behind the pair of them, we've got number 35, that's Thomas Barrow, the brother of Sarah Barrow, who we heard from earlier on. Sarah's making good progress in this race. She started 26th on the grid, but she's already worked her way up into the top 10. There she is, number 91 at the back of the group. Rogers goes by in 2nd place. David Robb in 3rd now, but falling back. He's got an equally comfortable gap between himself and that battle for 4th position though. Ryan Cole, number 60. Currently 16th in the Super 1 British Championship. He's had one bad round and he can discount your worst point score at the end of the season. So with that in mind, he should be on for top 10 finish in this year's British Championship. Casually glances over the shoulder there to make sure that everybody else is still a million miles behind him. They are, so he'll cruise around the final stages. Just make sure he brings the kart home. He won't be stressing that engine too much at this stage. He doesn't need to. He's nearly 4 seconds ahead of everybody else. Adam Rogers just glimpsed there in 2nd place. Now the battle on between these pair. Number 14, James Nash, comes off. He tried to go around the outside of Sam Wilson there, exposed himself to danger. The momentum, the energy carried to the outside of the track. He came off worse. He's out of the race on the final lap. Last couple of corners then for Ryan Cole. He'll burst onto the start-finish straight. He won the pre-final easily. He wins the grand final even more dominantly. And 2nd position is going to go to Adam Rogers.
And what a great drive from Ryan Cole, taking what looked like an easy win over Rogers, with Robb 3rd, Barrow 4th and Michael Ryle 5th. And just outside the top placings, our Sarah with a great 6th place overall. But congratulations go to our top 3, heading on their lap of honour towards the podium. And it was Chris who caught up again with the race winner.
Ryan, very well done. That was relatively straightforward though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, we knew I'd pretty much stay level with them at the start because we've got a kart set to come on a bit later on. After a few laps, I just got my head down, put some consistent laps together and managed to take the win.
And well done once again to Ryan, who deservedly takes the title and the coveted GP plate for 2004. Join us again after the break when it's all action from Formula Libre. Welcome back to the PF International Kartmasters GP, where the weather is now as hot as the track action. It's the turn now of the quick boys in Formula Libre. But before joining them, Chris Hartley caught up with some hot news about the latest in kart technology.
Mike, there's a rather snazzy looking kart behind you, a new concept in racing. What can you tell us?
Well, what you can see behind me is a new Ital system rotary engine. It's based on the Wankel engine system, so obviously the displacement is there, but it's questionable. This one in this guise gives out around about 45 brake horsepower, but it can be varied from 30 to around about 70 brake horsepower. Now, obviously the performance-wise of this is far beyond the Formula A. It is a very, very fast piece of equipment. Maybe too fast for a short circuit, but in the full power version, if the lower power version, then it could be acceptable, and is fairly low on the noise as well. We have tested it here with one of Paul Fletcher's drivers, with Gary Catt, and our own James Mills has actually done a few laps on it. We reached something just short of 100 miles an hour down this straight, bearing in mind the Formula A is around about 75 miles an hour. So that gives you an impression of actually how fast the car is. Plus it's on 4-wheel brakes, so it does stop on a sixpence. But the engine only weighs around about 16 kilos, and to get anything up to 70 brake horsepower at 16 kilos, we're talking F1 sort of power. And obviously the weight of the kart is not disturbed because you haven't got a heavyweight engine in one corner. It is fairly well balanced, like a Formula A.
Thanks, Chris, but here's a race class that's almost as quick as the rotary. Formula Libre was first introduced here at the Kartmasters some 3 years ago, but this year's special because we have 2 of the world's foremost drivers competing. The Swiss Hutlers team from Holland have their 2 top drivers entered, Randy Bakker driving the 19 kart and 2003 European champion Baz Lammers driving kart 20. Look out for them. Pitch these against the number 1 kart of newly crowned UK Formula A champion Mark Litchfield and fellow teammate Gary Catt in the number 2 kart, and you've got the makings of a great set of finals. And there were plenty of other top drivers also in contention, including the ever-quick 3 kart of Jason Parrott, who'd already notched up a series of impressive results in the heats, along with 16 Chris Nash, who was also in the running. And could 89 David Gregory make a dream start to his signing with a new team, having already scored a 3rd and 4th in the earlier heats? And there was little doubt that the Dutch pairing had quickly adapted to the PF circuit, with the 20 kart of Baz Lammers on a charge and now up to 6th place, with fellow teammate Randy Bakker driving the 19 kart in close contention. And possibly too close at times, as Bakker collides with the 69 kart of Minty Ward, and the following avoidance by Kieran Clark and Tom Brown can only be put down to superb reflex reactions. But despite all the earlier pressure, it was the 2 kart of Fletcher team driver Gary Catt who took the first final win, with some 0.93 seconds ahead of 22 Alexander Sims. On the Hot Shots board then, in addition to names like Gary Catt and Alexander Sims, new UK champion Mark Litchfield had to be ranked as a hot favourite. He's a regular team driver for circuit owner Paul Fletcher. But one can't dismiss the visitors. Randy Bakker perhaps finding it most difficult to adapt to this demanding circuit. But could it be Baz Lammers' day? His performance in the first final giving the Brits something to worry about. And with a little time to go before the grand final, Chris Hartley caught up with 2 of our hot shots, and first on question time was Baz Lammers.
Baz Lammers, one of our international drivers here this weekend. How are you finding it so far?
Good. is for me the first race here in England, second race, sorry. It's my first time on the PF International where I race. The track is good, but the drivers are a little bit aggressive. And that is my first experience here in England.
You race all over Europe normally. What made you come here this weekend?
Our dealer from Kartmasters here in England asked me if I want to come in to race this weekend because the Kartmasters is one of the famous races here in England.
Do you think finally that you've got a good chance of winning this weekend?
I think it will be quite difficult, but you know, I would like to win. I come here to win.
And then it was time to move on and catch up with our top Brit contender, Formula A star and now champion, Mark Litchfield.
Mark, you just finished 5th in the pre-final. Not quite what you wanted, but it's still doable from there.
I led the first final for the first couple of laps, and then it was a bit of a fight for the lead, and then I dropped back another place and then got pushed off the track, and that's why I finished 5th. But for the next one, starting 5th's not too bad, I don't think. I think we'll be all right.
You've got the number 1 on that kart. You've just won the British Championships with a couple of rounds to go. It must be a brilliant feeling.
Yeah, very good. To win the championship without having to go to the last round is very good. I've led the last 2 years previous into the last round and lost it both years, so to have won it before I actually have to do it, then that's fine, so I don't have to race there.
But you couldn't wait to get that number 1 sticker on, could you?
No, I was gagging to get that on.
Okay, brilliant. Well, good luck for the final.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And let's look through the grid now for that final. On pole as expected is the 2 kart of Gary Catt with 22 Alexander Sims for company on the first row. Row 2 sees 16 kart of Broxton-based Chris Nash, who has the 89 Tony kart of David Gregory alongside. Then it's number 1 Mark Litchfield paired with none other than 20 Baz Lammers to put pressure on him. Row 4 is the 3 kart of Jason Parrott, who has Cannock-based 26 Robert Souster for company. And row 5, Danny Cruttenden paired with fellow teammate and camera kart driver Chris Chubb. Let's join Chris for the race.
Thanks, Alan. We're on board then with number 44, Chris Chubb. He'll be giving us some great footage throughout the course of this race, no doubt. The category was introduced in 2001. It's open to virtually any type of 100cc engine, and there are no less than 7 British champions, past and present, in this contest. The lights go out then, and underway we go. Gary Catt on the inside there, and the number 2 car on board through the first corner with Chubb staring at number 41. Danny Cruttenden into the hairpin for the first time, then Catt leads. He won the pre-final from 3rd on the grid. Alex Sims, number 22, all over the curbs there, but about to spring up the inside of 1, maybe 2 karts there. He might even have wrestled 2nd place away from David Gregory in the number 89 outfit. Did he? No, he didn't. Baz Lammers has got through, in fact. And the number 20 kart, the Dutch driver, he's having a terrific run here on a track that he doesn't know that well, and tucked up right behind Alex Sims. There's number 30, one of those champions we were talking about, the ICA champion, Jason Edgar, brother of Justin, who's also racing here this weekend in the 100 national category. Onto the straight then, and it's Gary Catt that leads the race. Last year's Formula A British champion. Lammers has now got up to 2nd place ahead of Alex Sims. So the number 20 kart, the 2003 Formula A European champion, in 2nd position, having a storming drive here. A bit of ground to make up already though to Gary Catt. In 3rd place it's Alex Sims, number 22. Despite a cracking start, number 89 David Gregory is down to 4th place now. On-board footage and staring at the exhaust pipes of Danny Cruttenden, and then moving ahead there of Rob Souster in the number 26 kart goes our cameraman Chris Chubb, having a good race here in the early stages, using all of the curbs there. Alex Sims is dropping away from the top 2 though, just dabbing the car there to make sure the engine doesn't get too hot and seize up. Plenty of revs on these karts. David Gregory still within sight of Alex Sims, number 22, the junior ICA champion of last year, and also running 12th in the Formula 8 Championship this year. On board again with Chris Chubb up the inside of number 26 there, Rob Souster. Once again, that pair having a terrific ding-dong. They've swapped places a couple of times now. It's allowed Danny Cruttenden to edge away from them. Back up the front with Gary Catt there, number 2, and he's still got some very close attentions from the Flying Dutchman, Baz Lammers. Through onto the next lap they go, and there's only a couple of tenths between them. Lammers gets his head down. It's becoming a 2-horse race. They're pulling away from Sims and Gregory in 3rd and 4th positions respectively. Swooping around the right-hander then, carrying plenty of speed. Hard on the brakes now, into the right-hander at the hairpin. quickly back on the gas, and back on board we are with Chris Chubb, and this time he's staring at the back of David Gregory's car. That means he's up inside the top 6, Chris Chubb. Great run from 10th place on the grid. Up to 4th position now, we've got Mark Litchfield, who's recently wrapped up the 2004 Formula A British Championship with a couple of races to spare. He's had a slow start to this race, but coming into contention now. The top 2 are clearing away with it though, but 3rd and 4th is still up for grabs. And there's a terrific scrap from 5th, 6th and 7th. There's our cameraman, Chris Chubb, number 44. And that's what he's seeing at the moment. David Gregory getting close as he gets up towards the first hairpin. Now he's got a good run coming out of the corner, out accelerating the number 89 car up the inside when the gap is created, and through he goes. Might have got a bit of a tap on the shoulder there on the way out of the corner, but he gets through. And the next target for him is going to be number 41, Danny Cruttenden, although Cruttenden has put a bit of a spurt on at this juncture in the race. But certainly fine driving here from the man that's carrying our onboards. He's giving us some wonderful shots and a real sense of what it's like to be in the mix of a kart race here at the 2004 Kartmasters Championship. Now suddenly Baz Lammers has dropped away from Gary Catt, and he's quickly dropped away as well. Has he got a problem? He's a bit slippy slidey on the way into the Bruno Ferrari corner. He glances over his shoulder. Has he got a problem? He must have a problem, because he waves through Alex Sims into 2nd place. You wouldn't do that unless you knew you got a problem. However, the gentleman Alex Sims acknowledges the gesture. And Baz Lammers, well, he wouldn't catch too many drivers, even though he's got a problem letting everybody else through. He's hanging on to the tail of Sims at this juncture though. He's got Mark Litchfield breathing down his neck though. Litchfield trying to get himself up onto the podium here. First place looks very much as though it's going to go the way of Gary Catt. He's been a couple of tenths quicker than everybody in this race, but he's been helped by all the infighting behind him. The 2nd, 3rd and 4th place drivers slowing each other up as they scrapped amongst themselves. Now Lammers looks over his shoulder and again waves through a driver. A small thanks there from Litchfield, but he has to hang on to the steering wheel through this part of the course. It's a really fast right-hander that. And Litchfield now has moved up into the podium paying positions from 5th on the grid. Lammers drops down to 4th position, and he's struggling with tyres, it looks like to me. He's really slipping around a couple of the faster corners, and a shame that he's not going to finish on the podium. Danny Cruttenden is queuing up behind, but we're on to the final lap now. Gary Catt is being caught here by Alex Sims, but Sims is running out of time, and probably to some extent Catt has backed off the gas a little bit as he brings it on home towards the checkered flag. The outgoing British champion then is going to have some consolation when he takes the Kartmasters title in about 2 seconds time. There he is. Sims takes 2nd position and Mark Litchfield comes home in 3rd place.
A fantastic win there for Gary Catt, who eventually solved the challenge from 2nd place Sims, Mark Litchfield 3rd, Baz Lammers 4th and Danny Cruttenden in 5th. So our top 3 take a well-deserved lap of honour after what was a fiercely fought final. Let's join Chris, who's with the winner.
Gary, good race, getting quite close towards the end though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I hit part in the middle where Baz started to catch me, and I just kept pushing, really hoped that the kart would come on like it did in the first final, and it did. So I just managed to make the gap again. I think he had a problem as well, which helped me really, so it was good overall.
It was good to see him going so well, wasn't it, having travelled all that way from Holland?
It wasn't so good when you're leading and you see him catching you quite easily, no, but I'm just glad, it all came good in the middle, and I managed to pull away again.
Congratulations once again to our new GP title holder Gary Catt, and also to the runners-up and the splendid efforts of the Dutch drivers. As the crowd show their appreciation, we'll take a break, but be sure to stay with us for more frantic action from Kartmasters. Welcome back to the PF International Kartmasters GP, as we now keep the action rolling, this time with the 100 national class. And there's been a great entry for this popular class, all powered by 100cc rotary valve engines that are almost as quick as their Formula Libre teammates. The current GP holder, Justin Edgar, driving a Tony card, had been consistently quick all weekend and was clearly intent upon retaining his GP title. But close rival in the number 7 car was Martin Farmer, along with a whole host of fellow contenders who were already on Justin's case. And always there to seize the opportunity, the Kent-based driver, number 9, Tiffany Chittenden. She might be a lady, but Tiffany is not one for taking prisoners when it comes to racing. But in the end, it was to be Edgar all the way, with a great drive from Tiffany to take second, from third place, Dane Smith. So who's on the hot shots board for this one? Well, Tiffany Chittenden from Chislehurst in Kent had a fantastic weekend with a third, first and sixth in the qualifying heats, plus a great second in that first final. Solihull-based Martin Farmer is a possible outsider but long on experience who might well surprise everyone. But the hot favourite has to be Justin Edgar, our current GP title holder. So onto the grid for this 100 National Grand Final. And Justin Edgar on pole has female company with fast lady number 9 Tiffany Chittenden alongside. Row 2, 76 Dane Smith is paired with Hearts-based driver 23 Alex Sharper. Row 3 has one of our hot shots, 7 Martin Farmer with the 24 kart of Brian Nuttall. Row 4 is the pairing of 20 Andrew Perkins and 82 Alex Jordan. And row 5 has 86 Adam Nicholas with 61 James Smith. As we go to Chris for the race.
So can number 9 Tiffany Chittenden become the first female racer of the weekend to get herself on the podium? Sarah Barrow almost did it in TKM. She went from 26th on the grid to finish in 6th place. Tiffany has been close before and she'll certainly be trying hard today. Here we go then, Justin Edgar gets a good start from pole. Alex Sharper, number 23, has been pushed and shoved all the way to that first corner. He hangs onto the kart nevertheless. The GP plate then in the lead of the race, the defending Kartmasters champion Justin Edgar. The pack following him through. Dane Smith, number 76, has darted up to second position. Then it's Tiffany Chittenden in third, and Martin Farmer, number 7, has got through into fourth position. Right behind him is Alex Sharper, number 23, who survived that drama on the first corner. Through to the complex for the first time then. Not only is Justin Edgar the defending Kartmasters champion, he's the current British champion in the 100 national category as well. Working their way through the order then, these kart drivers looking to gain an early advantage while everybody's bunched up. At the front of the field though, it's already starting to spread out. 1 and 2 have got away, 3, 4 and 5 in their own little group. Then in 6th position there, we've got the number 82 kart of Alex Jordan. He's already got a bit of ground to make up though. There's number 5, Daniel Hart, who started this race right at the back of the grid, but he's already worked his way through the midfield. Had a DNF in the pre-final, and the driver that finished 5th in last year's British Championship. And we got a good scrap here with number 27, Mike Brinkworth, another British Championship contender. Gets a bit crossed up all the way into the hairpin, but somehow hangs onto the kart and holds on to his position. Another move here in the midfield, that's number 22, Peter Watkinson, with a brave move into the chicane to get by Daniel Chester's number 87. There's number 20, Andrew Perkins, who's busy working his way up from 22nd place on the grid. Our leaders then across the start-finish line. 3rd and 4th in view, that's Tiffany Chittenden, who's dropped a place from 2nd on the grid. Alex Sharper has now come up to 4th place, and somehow Martin Farmer has dropped an awful lot of time on that last lap. Number 7 was in 4th place, now in 5th, and quite a long way back, so possibly having made a mistake somewhere. There he is, the driver from Solihull in the West Midlands, 7th in last year's British Championship. There's Alex Sharper, 23, who's racing in the Swiss Hutlis team with our Dutch guests this weekend, Baz Lammers and Randy Bakker. Tiffany Chittenden just edging away from Sharper though. Meanwhile, it's reasonably comfortable for Justin Edgar at the moment. He's got a couple of kart lengths on Dane Smith. A bit of a break then to this 3rd place battle, which is continuing to rage between Chittenden and Sharper. Onto the start-finish straight. Then Dane Smith there in 2nd place, finished 6th in the British Championship 2 years ago. He's chasing down the defending title holder, GP plate, the man from Cumbria, his brother Justin we've already seen racing in the Formula Libre class. Double British Championship family that. And he's very controlled, very smooth at the wheel, a very experienced driver. Justin Edgar has been racing for many years, and one of the most experienced British kart racers that you'll find. Dane Smith, the young charger though, is keeping him within his sights. Edgar would love to take a 2nd British title on the trot. He's currently 2nd in the points in that particular battle. Win the pre-final here today from pole position by reasonably comfortable 1.38 seconds, but Dane Smith certainly has upped his game in this particular contest, the grand final. There's the battle for 3rd place. Into the right-hander goes Chittenden. Sister Tamsin also featuring in this race. And Tiffany is currently lying 3rd in the 100 National British Championships. Alex Sharper also at the thick end of the action in the national contest. Getting ever closer to the rear bumper of the number 9 kart. Tiffany looking for her podium here, the first of the contest. She's been racing for many, many years, like Justin Edgar, a very accomplished driver, but so too is Alex Sharper. In 4th place, he won't be happy with, I don't think. He'll want to get into the podium paying positions. One driver is preventing him from doing that at the moment, and that driver is only 2 or 3 tenths of a second ahead. On to the final lap then. Justin Edgar leads. Dane Smith is in 2nd position. It's a 2-horse race at the front of the field, and a 2-way scrap for 3rd position just behind them as well. Edgar on the brakes. Half a lap to go for him. He's got 2 or 3 kart lengths on Dane Smith. He can't afford to make any kind of mistake, else Dane Smith will pounce. Powering towards the chicane they go then. And in the background it looks as though Alex Sharper has found his way through. That must have been on the way into the 2nd hairpin. So he's up into 3rd place now. Chittenden, it doesn't look like he's going to get on the podium after all. Here we go then, into the complex for the final time. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And just a couple of corners to go now. There's Farmer in 5th place. Here's the leaders through the last couple of corners. Oh, there's contact for 3rd place. Bumpers flying off. They're both in the barriers. Chittenden gets going again though. But is she going to hang on to 3rd? No is the answer, because Farmer's just gone whizzing by in the background. So the win goes to Edgar. 2nd place goes to Dane Smith. And 3rd place is going to go to Martin Farmer after being in 5th position for most of the contest. And there's the unfortunate Alex Sharper, who looked for all the world as if he was going to finish on the podium.
A great win though for Justin Edgar, only a whisker ahead of 2nd place Dane Smith, Martin Farmer 3rd, Tiffany Chittenden despite that big crash was 4th, and Brian Nuttall 5th. And well-deserved applause from the crowd for the winners as we rejoin Chris Hartley, who was talking to Justin Edgar.
Justin, great drive, but Dane kept you honest all the way, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. I could see Dane every lap when I looked back, and he was right on my tail, and I knew if I made one mistake he was going to come through, and he kept on me all the time, so hard race.
It's a track that's been kind to you over the years, hasn't it, though?
Yeah, I've had some good results here. I won the GP last year, so I like this track. It's one of my best tracks.
So it's congratulations to all our finalists, but particularly to Justin Edgar for such a great defence of his GP title. But we've still got one GP title to decide in what has been the most fiercely contested class so far, Rotax Max. Be sure to join us for that after the break. Welcome back to the PF International Kartmasters and to our final coverage from this GP meeting. And with the large crowd settling in for the last race of the day, it's time to turn our attentions to Formula Rotax Max. The entry in this class has been so large that no less than 6 qualifying heats have had to be run. So those that have made it through to this first final really do represent the cream of this ever popular formula. One hot favourite was the Sheffield-based driver Phil English, driving the 53 kart, already with 2 seconds and 1 4th place in the heats and pole position in this race. On board with Michael Simpson, the current GP title holder, could he retain his crown? And ahead, the 96 card of Rob Weldon had run like a dream all weekend and was now making a strong impression in this final. Meanwhile, Michael Simpson was struggling to find a way past the 3 kart of Martin Pearce, having failed to improve upon his 8th place start. And ahead of Simpson, it was to be Weldon, who eventually took the win by only some 0.3 seconds ahead of Phil English. And so going to our Hot Shots board, the title favourite has to be Rob Weldon. Vastly experienced, Rob, who drives a right kart, has already notched up a 7th, 2nd and 3rd in the heats, plus an impressive win in that first final. Defending champion Michael Simpson can never be written off, and Lars Sexton is back in kart racing after a period away from the sport, but despite his absence, he's lost none of his pace.
Lars, back in karts. You've been in cars for a few years. What brings you here?
Just a bit of fun, really. We've had a bit patchy, a bit on and off with the car racing, and not really enjoying my motorsport. So we thought we'd come back to the TV Masters, a one-off meeting, and just in Rotax Max and just have some fun. I believe I've got a chance, but pace is not quite quick enough. I'm not quite there. I'm probably a couple of tenths off, and I think probably, truthfully, that's in me. I don't feel really energetic, so I'm just going to pop off for a little jog in a minute, try and get the pulse rate up and beating.
And finally, Lars, there's a Teletubby on your steering wheel. What's all that about?
Well, I work at ProDrive on and off, and they've called me Lala there. My nickname obviously for Lars, they've called me Lala. I went home, told my parents, and in a day or so, this thing appeared with my own crash helmet knitted on top of it by my nan. So now it's stuck. It's Lala. He's with me this weekend racing.
Is it going to bring you any luck though?
He'd probably drive quicker, I think, if he was in it.
So onto the grid for our Formula Rotax Max Grand Final. And as we mentioned, it's 96 Weldon on pole, with 53 Phil English in the Tony card alongside. Row 2 sees 33 Stephen Lane from Burntwood, paired with Mark Morrissey, who might turn out to be the dark horse in this race. Row 3 has 123 Richie Steele, with 118 Lee Jenner. And row 4 has 120 David Bell-Chambers, paired with 4 defending champion Michael Simpson. Row 5 is 24 James Abraham and 74 Nicholas Lewis, as we go to Chris for the race.
Thanks very much, Alan. The final race then of the 2004 Kartmasters, and it promises to be a cracker. There have been 56 drivers competing in the Rotax Max category, and 26 of them have made it through to the grand final. We're on board with the defending champion, GP plate Michael Simpson, as he leads us round the formation lap. Rob Weldon is the pole sitter, and the man from Eli will be hoping to convert that into a win as the race gets underway. A bit of bumping and boring on the way through the first corner, but it looks as though everybody's safely through. Rob Weldon seemed to get a good start in the number 96 kart. Phil English, number 53, is tucked into second place. Then it's Stephen Lane, number 33, the next man through. They all filter down into that tight right-hander. It's the first real corner of the lap because it's the first time that they slam on the brakes, and inevitably there's always a bit of contact. Number 24 there, enjoying some contact as well, or rather not. James Abraham taking to the grass there in the number 24 kart. Through the chicane they go. Rob Weldon leads into the complex, then it's English, then it's Lane, then everybody else wants to be in fourth place. There's Lars Sexton putting a move on Henry Arundel, number 101, who takes off the racing line and loses 2 places there in the middle of the field. Onto the start-finish straight then. It's Rob Weldon, the pole sitter, that leads. English in second, Lane in third. And then in fourth position, it's Michael Simpson, who currently leads the British Championship, having finished first and second in all the rounds. At the front of the field, though, English deep into the corner, takes the lead of the race, but he runs wide on the exit. On the grass he goes, back down to second, back down to third, because Lane gets through as well. And into the lead of the race, back into the lead goes Weldon. And in fact, down to fourth place goes English. We know that because we're staring back at him from the Michael Simpson kart. All he was trying to do was get the lead of the race. He ends up down in fourth position. Weldon then back up front, briefly down to second place, but only very briefly. That's allowed him and Lane to just pull away ever so slightly from the rest of the pack. Through the left-right flick onto the start-finish straight, there you go. We're looking back now at the Phil English kart. We're relegated to fourth position as it thumps at the start-finish straight. 1, 2, 3, 4 karts there, all battling over third position. We've got 55 Mark Morrissey in the mix as well, as is number 1, 2, 3, and that is Richie Steele. Up the inside goes Mark Morrissey into the first hairpin ahead of Simpson, so moving well up into the top 6 now. And next target for him is going to be Phil English. And you can see how that move allowed English just to edge away by about half a second or so. You really do slow each other down when you start overtaking. Through the chicane then. Action-packed race this so far. Stephen Lane in the 33 kart is now ahead of Rob Weldon. We didn't see the move, but it means we've got a change of lead. And the man from Burntwood, who finished third in the pre-final, now leads the grand final. Onto the start-finish straight. There we can see Phil English, who's trying desperately to get back on terms with the top 2 after his failed effort to get into the lead of the race a couple of laps ago. Very, very wide on the way into the right-hander goes Simpson, who has massive understeer through the corner and loses a couple of places. Lee Jenner, number 118, getting through, and again very twitchy underbraking into the hairpin, and Simpson going backwards in this race, and it doesn't look as though he's going to be able to successfully defend his GP title. Glances over the shoulder, and 1 or 2 more places lost for Simpson. He's effectively out of this race now. Very much in the fray though is Stephen Lane. There he is, number 33, clattering the curbs there on the way through the complex, trying to take the shortcut. Was the second place kart of Weldon, number 96. He's been caught corner by corner, lap by Phil English in the 53 kart. He's bringing the rest of the pack with him. The top 6 all within the sight of each other now. Mark Morrissey's had a fine drive in this race so far, working his way up the order in the 55 kart. And we've got the 1, 2, 3 kart of Richie Steele, who's setting some quick lap times here. And again up the inside into the hairpin goes Mark Morrissey. Not a particularly happy corner that for Phil English. He's lost 2 or 3 places there. That's where his failed attempt to get the lead was as well. Now jumping up and down in the seat, Lee Jenner there. The reason the drivers do that sometimes is to lift momentarily the weight of their bodies off the rear axle to pick up the acceleration. Every last 10th of a second they can find is going to help with the racing this close. There is Lee Jenner going through the complex. Coming up towards the tail of this group as well, we've got the number 120 cart of David Bellchambers, the driver that is currently lying in 4th place in the British Championships. There he is just at the rear of the picture. And there's Mark Morrissey, 55, who's pulling away ever so slightly from English and starting to close in on the top 2 as well. It's been a terrific drive this from Morrissey. This is the part of the course where he's made a lot of moves, and following his example is Lee Jenner there, number 118, again moving ahead of English into that hairpin. English is just too early on the brakes and he's leaving the door wide ajar into that corner, but he's trying to fight back now on the way into the left-hand chicane, and through he goes. He's reversing the declining trend. English moves back ahead of Jenner, back up to 4th position. Lane leads, then Weldon 2nd, 3rd is Morrissey, 4th is English, 5th is Jenner, and in 6th place it's Richie Steele, who's now sat the fastest lap of the race so far. Also catching them hand over fist is David Bellchambers. One of the closest races of the weekend, this, from the Rotax Max Championship. 125 cc's of power, well over 75 miles an hour in a straight line these carts can travel. Stephen Lane then, man from Staffordshire, is at the head of the field. 2nd place is the driver from Eli, Rob Weldon, who's trying to get his lead back. Now he's having to defend at the same time as he attacks, because Mark Morrissey in the 55 cart has come into the fray. Those 3 are pulling away from the rest of the group ever so slightly through the chicane once more. Then they go 1, 2 and 3. All of them have a great chance of winning this race. Stephen Lane has led the most laps. Rob Weldon won the pre-final and led the early stages, but it's Morrissey that has got the bit between his teeth. The driver catching both of those 2 leaders there in the 55 car. Bursting onto the start-finish straight once more then. Coming into the closing stages. Morrissey getting ever closer to the rear bumper, the rear exhaust of Weldon, and Weldon's starting to fall away from Lane now. Glances over the shoulder as well he might, because here comes Mark Morrissey. Under-braking, into the hairpin he goes, but Weldon won't give his line away. They touch wheels, and onto the grass goes the number 55 cart of Mark Morrissey. Well, if he wasn't fired up before, he's going to be very fired up now. English has closed up once again in 4th place, and he's brought 3 or 4 other carts with him. So it's very much to and froing here, but the one thing you can say is that all that action has allowed Stephen Lane to pull away from the battle for 2nd position. Number 33, Stephen Lane, looking comfortable as we run up towards the closing couple of laps of this race. Morrissey then, still in 3rd place. He had to go for 2nd. He did get to 2nd place for a fraction of time, but now he's having to defend 3rd spot from Phil English, number 53. Phil, who's also led this race. We've had 3 different leaders. Phil English down in 4th place, had a real roller coaster ride in this race, finishing 2nd in the pre-final. He set the fastest lap in the pre-final, in fact, so his hopes were high as he came to the grand final, and now he's got at the inside of Morrissey, but Morrissey bravely hangs on to the cart around the outside of the hairpin, and through the chicane for the final time goes our leader. What's happened to our 2nd place man? There he is at the back of the picture, and in the closing stages, number 96 Rob Weldon has dropped from 2nd down to 7th place, and Morrissey inherits the runner-up spot. And English there in 3rd with just a couple of corners to go. There's the checkered flag, and there is your race winner sprinting across to take the checkered flag. A delighted Stephen Lane. Morrissey in 2nd place, English in 3rd.
Great stuff from Stephen Lane, but Phil English promoted to 2nd following an exclusion of Morrissey. 3rd Steele, 4th Bellchambers, 5th Rob Weldon. A great and well-deserved victory then for Stephen Lane to take the GP title for 2004. We join Chris with our winner.
Stephen, well done. Brilliant win for you. The first few laps was very important, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first few laps are probably the most important of the race. My start wasn't brilliant, but it was steady. I maintained 3rd position. The leading 2 did edge out a little bit, whether their cart was set up to come on a little sooner. But after sort of 3 or 4 laps, I realised that I was actually quicker. And so instead of sort of playing the waiting game, I thought I'd make the move. I managed to edge out enough of a gap where then I could be a bit more sort of relaxed and conservative and didn't really have to push too hard. But in the end it was a great result, and I need to thank everyone who's helped me this weekend.
Well, congratulations once again to our finalist and the new GP title holder Stephen Lane, as the traditional champagne celebrations now get underway. And the final word from our reporter Chris Hartley.
Well, that just about wraps up another fantastic year of Kartmasters racing. Some new faces emerging, a couple of the old faces doing pretty well also, and the Trent Valley Kart Club yet again doing a great job in organising this wonderful event. Hopefully we'll see you here again in 12 months' time for Kartmasters 2005.